with the sanctuary college thing, the whole point of it was to really educate people. And no one's really willing to leave their homes to begin with. And it's a really tough decision to make as well, depending on what the circumstances are. And to like make that arduous journey to kind of to this new place, you've never been there, you don't know the language, you don't know the people. You'd expect them to kind of be welcomed because they're in a more vulnerable position than we are. And that's one of the things you wanted to spotlight as well during like Sanctuary Refugee Week, is to kind of spotlight, how they all have their own skills, all have their own sort of professions as well. They could really be, an addition or integrated into our societies. We just need to give them the tools to do that. And with the different organizations I've reached out to that are like helping with language skills or work placements, I think is really important work that they're doing. And I think it'd be really interesting or really cool for some students to be able to kind of get involved with that. And they do incredible work, some of which you are a part of as well. So I know that I'm really looking forward to hearing of your experiences and learning of opportunities to get involved with as well. And
in terms of my experience and what I would like want to impart to people who are interested in helping is mainly that there's a huge, I don't know if spectrum is the right word, but there's a huge spectrum of different ways that everyone could contribute to. I think I'm very much focused on the field work, which for some people can be very, very intense. But even in London, even if you remain in London, there's like opportunities to collect donations, to send on to people in the field, or even like you mentioned, language lessons or like education volunteering or helping people who've recently settled in a city. There's loads of groups who support them with welfare resources. There's honestly there's something for everyone, whatever they're interested in. But yeah, I'll go more into detail about my field work. I guess I want to preface it by saying that it is really, really, really sad, and I want to be fully transparent about the mental weight of this kind of volunteering. And luckily, the organizations I've been a part of are very focused on trauma and burnout or exposure to trauma that volunteers have on the ground. And there's loads of mental health resources. I'll start with Calais because that's where I went to first. And I specialize in my master's in water and food security. So I was just really passionate about giving food. So we were part of Refugee Community Kitchen, and we would have distributions daily, just giving food out to people who didn't have food. There was a group of kids, like I think one was 4, one was 8, and one was 11. And we distributed food to them every week in Dunkirk. And when we found out that their boat had sunk across the channel, and unfortunately they all lost their lives in that sinking, it was just quite startling. And it can feel quite frustrating knowing that we can only give food and water. But at the same time, I think it's really good for people who are interested in the more legal aspect of stuff and changing it from a government perspective to have that experience on the ground, because it gives you the drive to argue for policy change in a way that makes it so much more, rooted in real people that you meet.
Especially as part of Sanctuary Week, as well as looking at the bigger organisations, we are really looking to sort of local Oxford ones as well, because I feel like we can really build up relationships when you're in the city, in the area, you get to meet your team, etc. And that will be a really useful experience. So yeah, lots of people have lots of different sort of opportunities to look forward to, and clearly you've disclosed how important the work is, how valuable it is, even if it is tough work. I'm sure you say that there's nothing more valuable than kind of doing it, even despite the harder parts of it as well. So that's really, really good actually. And I'm sure if people have more questions in the panel in the future, or you will hear about your experience in going to Greece as well. So
yeah,
there's a lot there. So thank you so much for coming this afternoon to kind of give people a sneak peek, I suppose, a preview as to what's to come.
No, that's cool. Thanks for having me.